Well, good morning, everybody. Let me first remind everybody at the table on the dais that there is a camera here, and it is a family channel. So please please behave yourselves. If we had a camera on our regular staff meetings every Tuesday, it probably wouldn't be a good thing. So we're going to have to be in our best behavior. So anyway, are you going to kick this off, Brian? You want me to? I mean, I already did.
Yeah, we talked on the Friday.
Get the door for me, please.
Close the door, okay. So every Tuesday morning, we'll introduce ourselves. Every Tuesday morning, we all meet at 10 o'clock upstairs in our conference room, and we go over everything that's happening. The directors can report to each other and say what happened the last week, what's happening this week, what's happening next week, and just keep each other informed, and mostly keep me informed. Each council person has what they call an agenda, where they have like a particular file, a list of all the things they have in their heads, all the things they're working on, and we go through this list every Tuesday. Actually, we go through it every Tuesday when there's a council meeting, which is every other Tuesday, and we try to make sure we keep the council informed of what's going on, that we can tell them on their agenda. So like Debbie Meehan, for example, the first thing she has, she's from Colonia, so she has the Evergreen Senior Center. So somebody might report, we did this at Evergreen last week, we're doing this today, we're doing this next week, and then we keep Debbie informed of everything we're doing. So let's go around the table first. Obviously, I think you know me, I'm the mayor, John McCormick.
John Bennett, I'm the business administrator.
Marta Olewski, I'm the Director of Planning and Development.
Dennis Green, I'm the Director of Health and Human Services.
John Mitch, I'm the township clerk.
Vito Simaluka, Recreation Director.
Bob Hubner, Police Director.
Monica Effinger, Library Director.
Mike Gellen, Municipal Engineer.
Dennis Henry, Director of Public Works.
Michael Isolde, Information Technology.
John Haggard, yeah. I'm the Communications Director or Minister of Propaganda.
Carolyn Ehrlich, Chief of Staff and Director of the Redevelopment Agency.
Where's Manny?
I don't know. So the empty seat is Manny Fernandez. He's our CFO.
Yeah, somebody, can you call Manny? He was at the 10 o'clock meeting. Brian?
Yeah, I'll run up.
He's sitting in the other row.
Right.
Yeah.
He's probably
Where is everybody?
Call him. Yeah, just call him.
So everybody here, well, just about everybody here has worked their way through the Woodbridge system. Marta started here when she was just a planner out of college. This is the only job?
I was 5.
This is the only job you've ever had, right?
Yes, because I'm completing my 30th year this year.
30 years, and now she runs the planning department. Dennis, well, you started as an inspector?
As an inspector, yes.
Started as a health inspector, now he's the health director. John Mitch was a councilman, and then became the deputy clerk, now he's the clerk. Vito used to be a welder, a mechanic in the equipment repair shop, until we moved him over to run our recreation center, and then he became the director of recreation. He's got a long hockey history with his family. His son is a really, really good hockey player who plays all over the country. Bob started as a police recruit. Now he runs the police department. Monica came from the outside, one of the only ones that came from the outside. We hired her, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, Monica?
Year and a half.
Mike Gellen we hired from the outside. He's a resident of Woodbridge. We met him during the flooding, Hurricane Sandy, and as soon as I met him, I said someday he'll be our engineer when there's an opening, and sure enough, somebody left, and I called Mike, and now he's our engineer. Dennis Henry started as
a laborer.
A laborer, right?
Yeah.
A laborer in the Public Works Department at 18 years old. Now he runs the Public Works Department. Mike Isolde, we don't know really what happened here. What did you didn't start here as a kid? You were already...
Yeah, I mean, right from Seton Hall, and graduated and then started as a programmer.
Somewhere else?
No, right here. My first.
You also started here?
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that. All right, so Mike started here too and never had another job in his life. John Haggerty, he took from the outside. There's a couple of positions that are the mayor's key positions, which is the administrator, the chief of staff, and the communications director. So all three here did not start in their career in Woodbridge, although Carol was a council person back in 1996. And we worked together in Trenton, and now she became my chief of staff here. But other than the ones that I brought in when I became mayor, just about everybody else started here when they were right out of school, and they're still here running the place. And I think that matters a lot. So when Dennis Henry tells people to do something in Public Works, they say, okay, this guy did it. This guy's been here 40 years, and that makes him a better leader, I think. Same with Bob, same with Vito, everybody. They've all been through the mill. and I think that makes them all better leaders. You guys want to go around and introduce yourselves?
I'm Eric McKenzie from Woodbridge High School.
Very close from Woodbridge High School.
Hi, I'm Maria Brock, Colonia High School. I'm Maria.
You got Cameron Brocks?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
My mom's Cameron.
Okay.
I'm Maria Del Rosario from Mother City.
I'm Emily Adden from Colonia High School.
Drew Pena from John F. Kennedy Memorial High School.
Brian Barris from Colonia High School.
My name is Kimberly John from Woodbridge High School.
Emily Darrow, and I'm from Mother City. Sandy Medina from Colonia High School. Isabella Felix from Mother City. Jenna Rose from Virginia.
Okay, good. Ann, your mom teach?
My aunt.
Yeah, your aunt. Okay, cool. All right, so what we do is we typically will go through the council agenda, and you guys have this in front of you? You do? Okay, so if you see something that you want to ask a question about as we're going through it, just raise your hand and pardon me, but I have my backs to some of you here. But just raise your hand and say, what's this all about? But, okay, so the Senator, John Bennett's a former senator in the state of New Jersey, actually for 3.5 days, was the governor back in 2002. So he's our
They
administrator.
were very good days.
Very good days. Best 3.5 days in state history. So John usually runs the agenda. I just kind of pay attention, but John really runs the meeting. So go ahead, Senator.
Okay, I guess we'll start by going through the different agendas for the council people.
Right.
So we'll start with Council President.
So let me just interrupt. So there's 9 council people. There's 5 wards that run. We all run an odd number of years. 5 wards run together, and then 2 years later, I run with the 4 at large. So meaning the at large cover the whole town. The 5 wards just cover their specific area. So Debbie is the 5th ward of covering Colonia. Vera Patel covers Island and Menlo Park Terrace in the 4th ward. Corey Spiller covers Avenel and Fort Reading in the 3rd ward. Howie Bauer covers Fords, Hope Lawn, and Catesby in the 2nd ward. And Nancy Drum, is she here? Did Nancy come down?
Yep.
Oh, there she is. And Nancy Drum covers Woodbridge and Seawarren in the 1st ward. Kyle Anderson, Brian Small, Greg Ficara, and Lizbeth DeJesus are council people at large, so they can cover anything. So you'll see ward-specific items on the ward agendas, and you'll see more generic, general agendas for the at-large.
Okay, so on Debbie's agenda.
You mean with the fire company? We all set with that?
Well, she actually sent an email this morning. I just sent it upstairs. She's asking to double check everything is ready. So I sent it back asking, what are they asking you to double check? I know that Public Works obviously will have the stage in order. Today's request is TV 35 coverage. But I also believe that day we're going to have the track meet has been postponed twice. So John Haggerty's going to have to check that schedule. But that was her request as of this morning. But we need to find out what else she needs.
That's usually over pretty quick.
Would you
The track
explain what
meter-
we're talking about?
Yeah.
What the event is?
So on the council president's agenda is the emergency services. So again, she represents Colonia. So Colonia Fire Department is celebrating their 75th anniversary on Saturday, June 2nd. So she's been asked to double check to make sure the town has everything ready for them. But I want to make sure we know what they want us to double check. So whatever they generally will ask for, we'll provide, but we need to know what that list is.
And we have one additional request regarding the parade came in the back door through George, wanting to know if we would be busing seniors from Evergreen to the fire department.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Got it. We'll take care of it.
All right.
Anything else on that one?
Well, she's got concerts on her agenda as the council president. We have like 57.
Each of the
Oh, you got it?
students have a concert card and the Woodbridge News.
Okay. Let's see, what else?
She just completed the Support the Troops rally.
Oh, right.
Very successfully. Large turnout for the Support the Troops rally. It's a program we have every year where we honor those active duty service personnel who are serving the country in various stations around the globe. It was this year we honored probably about 70 active duty Woodbridge military personnel.
Yeah, you got Veterans Day for active living veterans. You got Memorial Day for people who have passed fighting for the country. So we specifically honor those still serving, or serving now or recently. So that it's a really cool night. Number 14, the volunteer directory. We put together, Carol actually spearheaded this when she was on the council, and we updated every year a booklet that every organization that ever could use volunteers, like the Animal Shelter or Angel Paws, any kind of group that relies on kids or seniors or adults to help. And Debbie keeps track of that as the council president. Anything else on Debbie? This is Manny, he's the CFO. Chief Financial Officer, that means. Second best CFO ever in the history of Woodbridge. Just saying. Just saying.
Because he's the first one.
Actually, I kind of came up through the ranks too. I was CFO for 10 years, so not out of college and through the ranks, but pretty close. Anybody else on Debbie?
Okay, Corey. Avenel Day, who's going to?
So yeah, we just celebrated Avenel Day was our about a dozen year, I guess 12 years later. One year we took a buy off of it, but we had a pretty great event Saturday despite the pouring rain. We were out there from 8:30 in the morning setting up. The public came. Whoever came, they ate very well because there was a lot of food. But we're going to change it up. This is the last year as it was, and we're going to change it up, start something new this year. So more details to follow probably at our next staff meeting.
Saturdays in May are just so busy.
Yeah, so what happens is, as a lot of you probably know from living here, you know, the month of May, generally, it's communions, it's graduations, it's Mother's Day. Memorial Day. There's so much going on, the mayor's birthday.
National holiday.
And it just conflicts. We have the street fair, you have the Paranorma event also. So there's so much going on in this town that some days it's just really hard to make it all. So we're going to take a big component out, leave everybody else. They can still, you know, share the day, and we'll move it to a different time of year and something totally different anyway.
So number 2, go ahead, Avenel Arts.
Anybody here live in Avenel? So you must see that aside from the apartments, we now have the walls going up for the Avenel Arts Center, which is extremely exciting. That's going to be a theater for 200 people, plus a restaurant. So I changed my route home so I can check it out every day, and it's just amazing to see. So we're all very excited.
Would that be open to the public or only residents who stay in Lehman?
Open to the
public. Oh, definitely
Everybody.
public.
We're hoping it actually becomes a destination where people come to the theater from all over.
And just so, because you live in Avenel, the timeline is the end of the year, hopefully?
Yes.
Right?
By the end of the first show, January.
So we had the murals commissioned every summer for the last 3 years. We've done a piece of the walls, first an ocean scene, then a farm scene, and then a zoo scene. And when Carol and I drive by all the time, Carol would say, because I love that art mural, I just think it's beautiful. And I put that together myself. So every time we drive by, Carol would say, "Oh, look, another building's going up." And I'd say, "Yeah, but the zebra got the stripes, you know? They painted the stripes on the zebra." So it's like, that's all I cared about, was the giraffe and the zebra and the whale and the cow. And then Carol would care about what she should care about, what's getting built.
It's all art.
It's all art.
Right. Vito, you want to say something?
No, just we're excited about the project. We're looking forward to it. I know there's some fellow actors in the in the area here. So we performed last year together in the Community Arts Players. So what was your title?
Action in West Side Story.
Action in West Side Story.
Oh, okay.
So he was one of the guys who I had lines with. So it was pretty cool. So we enjoyed spending last summer together.
Did you audition for this year's show?
This year's yet.
Oh, great.
Did they pick people yet?
No, I don't think so.
Not yet.
No.
They just had the auditions.
Oh, yeah, okay. Cool.
Saturday and yesterday.
Cool.
And we hired, you want to talk about who you hired to run the Art Center?
Oh, yes, we hired a guy, Anthony Wilkinson, who is a 3-time Emmy winner. He produces, what date soap was he in?
One Life to Live.
One Life to Live. He's an actor, and he's a director, he's a producer. He's amazingly talented. And last year, he's been going literally all over the country to conventions meeting the acts, meeting the promoters, meeting the people responsible for the talent, and he's been assembling them to get them to come to Woodbridge, so that when we open, we're going to open big and have some serious acts playing here. It's going to be phenomenal. It's also a great place for people who want to get part-time jobs. If you're in college and you're home, you're close, it's a great place. It's going to be a great place to work, so keep your eyes on it.
I think Councilman Spiller also has the Cable Commission. The Cable Commission oversees the complaints and the issues involving our one and only cable provider in Woodbridge Township, and they are up for renewal at this point in time, so we're going through an assessment period. We have posted a survey online where we're encouraging residents who have the Comcast cable service to provide opinions regarding their level of service and any other issues they may have. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the township will make a determination regarding the renewal, but Comcast will be here no matter what, as they are the only entity that has wired Woodbridge Township. Verizon Bios will not do so, and no other cable providers have stepped up. So it is a process, but we hope to get, at the end of the day, some concessions from the cable company, and hopefully they can provide additional funds for the operation of our TV 35's TV station.
People do not like Comcast. We can just flat out say it. I get more complaints about Comcast than I do about property taxes, and I am not exaggerating. And we have nothing to do with Comcast. We'd love to be able to get someone else to bid against them, but nobody will bid against Comcast here because Comcast won't bid against them in their town, and that's really the way it is. It's simple.
And quite frankly, at the end of the day, the hardline cable service is going by the wayside, as you all know. We're all going to be going to streaming and doing other types of entertainment, video, so we don't know how much longer that kind of service will be available in any event.
I just want to add to your comment that Comcast rates go up a lot faster than our taxes.
Right.
This is true.
Anyone else have anything else for Corey? All right, then we'll go to Nancy's.
Nancy's here, so be careful.
Hello, Councilwoman.
Nancy, you want to say anything now? Yeah, come on.
Sure.
Never know Nancy.
So we have about 19, welcome everyone. Maria, keep the mic
Come on
warm.
over. Come on closer.
I need you
We
to...
have a council
Yeah.
meeting tonight. They're normally every other Tuesday. So that's an opportunity for us to have all of the administrative resolutions and ordinances put in front of us to vote on whether we approve them or not. We normally get about 30 to 40 resolutions every other week at our council meetings, and probably about 4 or 5 or 6 ordinances. So it also gives the public an opportunity to come out and speak at the microphone and voice their concerns or questions that they may have with what's going on in town. We've had students here before that have a class, maybe a political science class or government tech class, and they come out and they take notes as part of their curriculum in their class. So I'm the councilwoman for Woodbridge proper. There's 10 towns in Woodbridge, and Woodbridge proper is one of those 10 towns. And then Seaborn. He's my neighbor over there, the actor. He's amazing. And so it's been, what our role is we are in between administration and our constituents. So we get complaints or concerns or ideas from our constituents, which are the people that live in our ward and the businesses that are in our ward that we're responsible for. And then we bring those concerns and ideas to our administration, and it goes to the respective department directors sitting around the table to be able to have their staff go out and investigate it, review, and they follow up to us very expeditiously, I might add. We have a wonderful team here between our town council, which are 9 of us, as well as our administration and the mayor. So I have about 19 agenda items. I'm not going to stand up here. We'll be here forever. But they're all near and dear to my heart. And with the assistance from our clerk and all of our directors and our mayor, our BA, and our chief of staff, we get things done pretty quickly. I don't know if you want me to talk about any of my agenda items.
May
Buy
I?
locals, pretty near and dear to my heart.
I did also put in front of your seat a statement, if you can read it on behalf of Councilwoman De Jesus, who normally is the liaison here, but she's tied up and she couldn't be here.
Like the mayor explained, all of the council people have agenda items, and our ward council as well as our at-large, we all have agenda items, and Lizbeth has youth and government on her agenda, but she couldn't be here today, so I'm stepping in for her, but she did send a quote over to our chief clerk, John Mitch, and she wanted me to read it to you all. First, I would like to congratulate each of you on your selection to participate in today's Youth in Government. Today will be a highly educational day on how local government works. I want to encourage each of you to find your passion and to work hard for it. You are never too young or too old to bring change. And you definitely do not have to wait until you are a legal adult. Change begins when you are willing to stand for your beliefs. Again, congratulations and good luck in your future endeavors. Good?
Yeah, perfect.
Mike, with respect to number 8 on the Blue Acres, could you just tell us what the current status is? But before you do that, maybe just tell us why are we involved in that program?
Right, because of some of the flooding happening in the township, in collaboration with NGDEP, we took upon ourselves just to mitigate flooding in the township by demolishing some of the buildings on the floodway. But we're not leaving the vacant lots just like an empty lot. So what we are doing, we are working with workers in collaboration with them. We are mitigating by doing infrastructure, green infrastructure program, and planting trees, shrubs, rain garden, and we are moving pretty good along with that project.
Good. Anything else? Okay, Kyle. Kyle's the first one that we're doing that's an at-large. He's all over the town.
Kyle maintains responsibility for the online job bank. We do have an employment center where we encourage local municipal businesses to advertise any job openings, and we update that on a regular basis. So we do have that opportunity for people to review Woodbridge Township related positions if they're looking for work.
Anything on his agenda? Anybody want to talk about anything specifically?
Recently,
Go ahead.
we recently.
Okay.
For number 9,
NAACP. There's an entity, we know what that means, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Kyle's African American, so he belongs to that. There's a chapter in Perth Amboy. And when this is on his agenda and he goes through it on a Tuesday night meeting, if something is happening, if they're having an event, it'll jog his memory to bring it up on TV so that everybody watching can know about it. I don't know specifically if there's anything active in that right now. Does anybody?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. But that's why. So he's part of it, and he wants to help them. Just like the Independent Club of Colonia is the same kind of organization. It's a largely African American group. It's right across from the middle school. They have a little house in Delaware, and he sees it. He'll say, "Okay, they have a picnic this week," and he'll announce it. So that's just it meant to jog his memory. Yeah. Oh yeah. Vito, you do it, yeah.
So every October we do a trunk or treat for Halloween, and we also do a themed Halloween movie at the community center. So it's pretty cool. We use a big blow-up screen. Parents come, they park their cars. I know you guys are too young to remember real drive-in movies where the speaker used to hang on the window. I know everybody's smiling because they remember it. But yeah, so what they do is they tune their radio to a certain frequency, and we broadcast it over their radio so they can sit in the warmth of their car as they watch the movie. So it's pretty cool. Kids come in their pajamas with popcorn and everything. It's a great family night.
We started the trunk or treat after Hurricane Sandy when nobody could trick or treat because of down wires and down trees and it wasn't safe. So we started the trunk or treat on the weekend, either before or after Halloween.
It was
And
actually just after, wasn't
Just
it just
after.
after Halloween?
The first
Just after.
one was right
And it
after.
was
First
such
was
a
just
hit, we just kept doing it. It was so crowded. We just kept doing it. Patty, you had your hand up?
What does the job bank entail?
Go ahead, John.
The Job Bank it's an online employment opportunity center. We post online the jobs that are available by Woodbridge-based companies or businesses, and we encourage residents who are out of work to search that location first for whatever work may be available in Woodbridge Township.
Do you want to mention item 13, which is the Boy Scout?
Oh, yeah.
Or the Scout camp?
We have a land that it turns out we owned it all along. We didn't have the title in our name, but we're trying to put a Boy Scout and Girl Scout camp. So it's going to be over in Avenel off of Omar Avenue. We're building or bringing in a pavilion, building a fire pit, and clearing a lot of areas out so that the Scouts can have a place in town where they can camp for the weekend. And it's right across from Orals Park. I don't know if anybody's ever seen Orals Park, but it's an absolutely beautiful wildlife preserve. There's all kinds of animals, deer and fish and birds and butterflies all over there. So it's just a great ecological area, and it's a perfect spot for Scouts to spend a couple weekends a year at camp. So we're making it easy by building the pavilion and building the fire pit. And then they just bring their tents and go.
It originally started off, they were calling it the Boy Scout camp, but I'm the father of 3 daughters, so I told them it had to be called the Scout camp. So the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts.
Right.
Okay, anybody else on this one? Any other questions? All right, we have another councilman at large, Greg, and let's, anybody have anything on his agenda?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you go into more detail about the recreation?
1B. Vito, the youth recreation program.
Absolutely. So youth recreation programs, what we do is every year we carve out 2 months out of the year, April and May. April is the youth month where we put together programs throughout the month. Not too much different than what we do all year long, but we do hold a couple extra events for youth to come out and enjoy some of the programs that we do. It's also the kickoff for baseball season, so it's a great time. And then we also hook that up with Senior Month, which is in May, and we do a whole bunch. One is the Mayor's Senior Health Expo, which we just had last week at the Community Center. And we post those calendars of all the events on our website.
Any of you guys be involved in Heroes and Cool Kids? You are? Some of you good. That's Greg's baby. He brought that to the town, and he is involved in the board, the statewide board. So he's very active in that. He's same thing. He'll see it. He'll report on what's going on. But I think that's a great program. Something that looks really good on your college applications that you're involved in something like that.
When Nancy spoke about following your passion, Greg Ficara's passion is health and wellness, and he advocates for that in every way possible. He initiates programs, and we're really all a bit healthier because of his leadership.
Carol, could you tell us the status of Jacob's Landing? I know that, and what that is, because they might think it's something biblical here.
So, Jacob's Landing is what is on Bunce Lane, and it's a 1950s garden apartment that is run by HUD for low-income family housing. And it's really
ugly.
It's not, there are people who say that you need pride in your home to be able to be successful. And it was the kind of neighborhood where you had to struggle to be proud of where you lived. And
great people.
Yeah, the people are wonderful, but their living conditions were just horrible. So the mayor invested, and we got a builder who was able to get federal tax credits and other assistance from both the state and the federal government. And they are in the process of demolishing and rebuilding all of the buildings there. So they have completed phase 1. They're working on the next phase now, and at the same time they're working on getting the financing for the last phase. The people who have moved into the new apartments are just ecstatic. And one of the big changes that makes such a difference, before, if you're familiar with Buns Lane, everybody had to park head-on Buns Lane, and there were no internal streets. Now, there are internal streets, so people actually will have backyards and a real feel of a neighborhood with blocks, and it's just going to be so nice. Yes?
Is there any way we can help with that, like in terms of volunteerism, like building that sort of community?
That's pretty hard because they're building buildings, but I'll get all your information because we do tooling around the town, which is, we just had it this year, but it's a project where we help seniors and disabled people to fix up their homes. And we're also looking into, we have quite a number of abandoned houses, and we're looking into making one of them a Habitat for Humanity, which is something we certainly can use volunteers on. So we'll get your name, and the mayor will mark it on here, and we'll get back to you.
It's named Jacob's Landing not because of the Bible, but was it Colonel Jack Jacobs? What's that?
Major.
Major Jacobs. He's a Woodbridge resident who was Purple Heart in Vietnam.
Yes. He also
War
won the
hero.
Medal of Honor.
Medal of Honor, that's what it was. Congressional Medal of Honor winner, Woodbridge native in Vietnam, so we named it after him.
Any questions on this agenda? Anyone else have anything to add? Okay, now we'll go to Liz on Beth, who happens to have the Scouts Pavilion and Camp on our agenda.
One's boy and one's girl.
This one is the Scouts Pavilion and Camp.
Lizbeth, like Carol said, Craig is passionate about health. Lizbeth is passionate about female involvement. So we can't say baseball without saying softball. We can't say Boy Scouts without saying Girl Scouts. She is a big advocate for equal publicity, equal programs for girls as well as boys.
Female empowerment.
Female empowerment, good way to put it.
Status, I don't know, John or Vito, the status of the anniversary number 16.
Oh, that's a good one.
For the 350th. So right now, as just about a good portion of our committee is here in the room, we are working on our gala banquet, which is June 1st, which is just a week away.
It figures you'd have the shirt.
They all got shirts, right? You all have them?
They all have shirts, and yeah.
I'm surprised you're not wearing it.
I was going to put it on.
It's tie-dye.
Oh.
So we have, so this is our kickoff for a year-long celebration for the 350th. Our gala starts June 1st, 2018, which will go into a few months of, or every month of having an event, to our super event, which is going to be on June 1st, 2019, which is going to be a, can I announce it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Which is going to be a all-day carnival with some performances at the end of the evening, and right now it's slated to be held at the Woodbridge Community Center. But the gala, we have over 400 tickets sold for the gala. We have a living history in the beginning of the gala that we are very excited about. It's interactive as well as static, but you can walk through it during cocktail hour and absorb some of the history that's been 350 years here in town. So we're really excited about that. My committee, I'd like to thank them. They've done a fantastic job. John Mitch is my co-chair. Brian and Eileen, they've all put together the banquet and done a fantastic job. They've been working on it every day diligently. There's going to be some swag that the kids have received. They've gotten some lanyards and keychains and cups and different things. So everybody's really happy about that. And so it's we're excited.
We'll be in the school tomorrow. We're going to be in the schools tomorrow to see if they're wearing their lanyards. So.
Yeah.
We're the oldest township, organized township in the state of New Jersey, about 1669. It's the Sesquicentennial. which nobody would have got that crossword puzzle. I never would have known what the heck that thing.
And no one can announce it, pronounce it, but you. So, one of the other things we're going to be doing is we're going to take that history, that living history, and we're going to bring it out to the schools. Brian and the mayor are working with Dr. Zaga now to make that part of the curriculum as they go through next year. So you guys being juniors, you'll be able to take a part of that. So again, we're really excited about it, and she definitely learned some of the history as well as some of the local government stuff we're learning today.
Yeah.
Item number 8, please.
Number 8 on Lizbeth. Oh, Hispanic Heritage Month. Lizbeth is Puerto Rican, first elected Hispanic in the history of Woodbridge Township, and she's passionate about everything to do with Hispanic culture. We just had this weekend, Sunday was the Alvarado Hispanic Heritage Festival, but it was rained out, and it's on this weekend. June 3rd, not this weekend, it's Memorial Day weekend. It's rescheduled to June 3rd. But Lizbeth is passionate about where she's from. She came here when she was 9 with her mother and her brother, and she tells the story all the time. And anything to do with Hispanic heritage, she's on it. She actually gives a welcome speech at our new citizen ceremony every year. It's her passion. She'll do announcements in Spanish a lot. It's really, we have a Hispanic council person, an African American council person, and an Asian Indian council person. So on the Board of Ed, we have one of each too.
And all 3 of those made history here. These are the first.
All 3 were the first ever, yep. Yep.
Mayor, also on September 30th, we do the Hispanic Festival, which is held at Parker Crest. It's an all-day event.
Oh, right,
So,
right.
Every year.
Which Lizbeth covers too. We have to outreach. We have to have outreach to all groups. We want the council to look like the town, and we want the Board of Ed to look like the town. It can't be 9 whites on the council and 9 whites on the Board of Ed. It just doesn't cut it in a town that's over 40% non-white. So we want the council to be diverse, and Lizbeth is the perfect person for advancing the Hispanic agenda. Yes?
Number 6, the Youth Employment and Job Fair, is that for jobs like currently available, or is it more of a career fair?
It's a career development fair for high school seniors, which we host I think it's in April, at the community center. And last time we had about 40 businesses represented there, and they would set up tables and provide information on potential careers for graduating seniors.
It's actually recognizing the fact that not every kid in high school is going to go to college. We bring the type of jobs that people can go right into from high school. There's the trade unions, banking, other things that you don't necessarily, hospitality, the kind of jobs you don't necessarily need a college degree to get, because not every kid's a college kid. But we want to have outreach for everybody and make opportunities available to everybody. So this is the job fair. Your schools probably, all 3 of them sent kids, all seniors this year. So next year, you or a lot of your classmates will come to it and hopefully meet somebody and find a career. Find something to do, yeah.
I have a question for item number 12 on veterans tax deduction. Is that for recent veterans or all veterans, and will that impose the heavier tax on non-veterans?
It's anybody who qualifies as a veteran. I believe you had to have served overseas.
It's
No.
certain time frames as to during combat, when we were engaged in certain conflicts, and then if you serve during those time frames, then you are eligible to receive it. It's a state law. It's not a local law. But, of course, taxes are paid at the local level. So if someone submits their papers and shows that they were actively engaged in the military during these times of conflict, then they are eligible to receive this veterans tax credit on their property taxes.
And the reason it's on our agenda is because they just made some changes to it. So she helps publicize that. So the veterans out there, she'll announce it every 2 weeks on TV. This is the change, and people will see it and say, "How I'm eligible." So it's again just to remind people of what's out there. Yeah.
What exactly is Greenway Family Society?
Which one?
Greenway.
Oh, Greenway. Who wants that? Dennis? Greenway?
The Greenway Center is an organization. It's a nonprofit organization that helps the community. And what it does, it provides barrier services for the community. It helps them with managing money, taking care of their kids, all these different things. And it's really a service-oriented organization, and it's open to pretty much anyone. It's located on New Brunswick Avenue.
A lot of young mother programs, young mothers with babies, with kids. A lot of those programs are geared toward them. Anybody behind me? I'm ignoring you, but anybody?
I could look.
All right.
Yeah. All right, anything else on this one?
Monica?
Right here behind you.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
all right. Oh. Oh, the History Museum. Oh, boy. So we've been looking and looking and looking for years for a place that we could have as a museum for the history of Woodbridge. We finally have a deal to buy a pretty nice, well, nice sized house. It's a structurally nice looking house on 86 Green Street in Woodbridge. That'll be our history museum. We're supposed to close on June 27th. We'll take title to it, we'll empty it out, and then we'll start renovating the inside and the outside. And hopefully by this time next year, maybe the fall of next year, the Historical Association can start moving all their artifacts in and all their collectibles in, and it'll be open as a history museum for Woodbridge. So Woodbridge Center, the Hess Corporation, George Washington, who was here, all the different things that make up the history of Woodbridge, which we're working on now with the Sesquire Centennial. That'll all have a permanent home in Woodbridge. We've had hit and misses on a whole bunch of different buildings until we finally got this one, and we're hoping we close. We're hoping.
Now, would it, in any way possible, offer volunteer?
Oh, sure, absolutely. If anybody's historically oriented or wants to be a museum curator one day or wants to just volunteer and help out, absolutely.
Yeah, we anticipate a dozen program for the museum.
Okay.
Another question.
I'm sorry.
Does the Greenway Center have translators for non-English speaking families?
I think they do,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Most everybody there is bilingual with Spanish and English.
Thank you.
Because it's located in Fords, and I'd say South Fords, Hope Lawn, and Caseby are where the majority of our Hispanic residents are. So absolutely is bilingual, absolutely has to be bilingual.
Okay, moving on to Brian Small, Councilman Small's agenda. Carol, what's the status of the electric vehicle car
Just
share?
going to talk about that. So this is an exciting new project that we have in the town. We put out an RFP, which is what we have to do as a request for proposals, to get companies that provide charging stations for electric cars. And we just awarded it, and they're starting to pick locations. The beauty of this program is that it's not funded by taxpayer money. As far as I know, Public Works doesn't have to do anything, which is unusual because just about everything we do, the guys at Public Works have to do it. And so we're hoping to make sure they're charging stations, for instance, at all of our new Transit Village development, at the community center, at the libraries, so that train stations, so that people can actually charge their cars. Another thing about that we're looking at are shared car services. So, for instance, part of what we're doing is we're developing transit villages down in Woodbridge, where we'll have a lot of people living, and during the week, they're not going to need a car because they're going to take the train to work. So they only need it on the weekend if they want to go up to Wegmans or something. But if there's a car sharing program, they don't need to own a car because they can just say, I want the car for 1 o'clock on Sunday, and they have it. So we're doing that in preparation of growing the downtowns.
Yeah.
For the car charging stations, I know that around Menlo Park Mall they have it for Tesla. Do you think that there's enough residents who have those type of cars?
They say, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? And I finally had somebody tell me it's the egg because you have it for breakfast and chicken's for dinner. But the thought is that One of the reasons that a lot of people don't have the electric cars is because they're afraid that they're not going to be able to charge it. So we're putting them in hopes that it will motivate more people to get an electric car.
Number 8, school projects. You've all your schools have 3 new turf fields in the last 4 years. We've done that working with the school district. We do very well with all the projects that come to town, and it's complicated, but when we give somebody a tax break and try to get them to come here with the tax break, it's structured so that we keep all the money ourselves. It doesn't get directly shared with the board, but that's really okay because warehouses and power plants don't put kids in school. But we, in turn, try to give back to the schools, and we are allowed to spend money on community facilities on school property. So we've done baseball, softball, and football/soccer turf fields at all 3 high schools. We've done the tracks at all 3 high schools. We've done tennis courts at all 3. We've done a new playground at every grammar school, the Woodbridge Middle School auditorium, some gym floors, some auditoriums in your schools. Anything that the community uses, we are allowed to pay for. We can't fix a boiler, we can't fix a roof, we can't buy textbooks, but we are allowed to spend money on things that improve the community. And you guys probably only know the turf fields because they've been there. You're juniors, you wouldn't have known what it was like. But let me tell you, Colonia was awful looking when you drove through it and looked down at the fields. It was awful. The Woodbridge High School field and the stadium should have been condemned 5 years before it was torn down. It was in such bad shape. JFK was nothing to write home about, and now they're all brand new facilities. So that, and Brian works for the Board of Ed. He's on the council, but he works for the Board of Ed. So he always keeps everybody informed every 2 weeks about what's going on with all those school projects. Yeah.
I know that Colonia Middle School has like a tech lab. Is that self-fundraised by them, or is that a school project?
That's a school thing.
Because I know that we just took down our library at Colonia High School, but we don't really have anything in there yet. Is that a coming project, or is there?
Say that again?
Our library was kind of taken out last year. We moved books and everything. We just have encyclopedias.
The Colonia High School library?
Yes. So is that a pending project, or is there any information regarding?
That's not.
I recently had a meeting with the Assistant Superintendent of Schools.
Wow.
And I recently had a meeting with, just this week, past week, with the Assistant Superintendent of Schools. And he met with the people at the power plant that we're building, that's in CPV power plant in Caseby, and they are donating some money and some programs, and we're hoping to get some kind of technical labs up. But this is just a beginning of a concept. We realize that we need to do something where there were once libraries. Now we need to have a more tech library. And Mike, I know, has been working on this.
Yeah, can I just add to that? Similar to Woodbridge High School, where we've taken, made them 21st century computer labs with Chromebooks and iPads and big monitors. We're going to do similar to that at Colonia. And we also have the Cisco Network Academy, where there's a lab that we've also set up. So you're going to see more of that at JFK and Colonia in the upcoming school year.
Glamour?
Oh, we already have that at JFK.
Oh, I thought you raised your hand.
Yeah, I want to discuss number item 13. Is that for structural integrity of hotels and motels, or for conduct, personnel, whatever's in the item? That's great.
It's really about, are they following all of the codes and the rules that we have? And for instance, some of our motels are really for overnight stay, and we have people unfortunately living there, and that's not what it's zoned for. So we are doing inspections of all of them, from the ones in Metro Park to the ones in Route 1, and we're hoping that by doing this, they'll learn what some of our laws are that they're not following, and we have a better time at enforcing them.
What brought it out, though, is reading the papers, you see that this guy with the guns was staying here and had all the weapons in the room. The guy in Las Vegas had all the weapons in the room for days and days and days, and nobody checked the room. And then there was another one where there was a huge fire in the hotel, and they had a meth lab in the hotel room, and nobody checked the room. So we came up with, or we're still working on, right, a way to mandate inspections of every room every day. We don't know if it's legal yet, but we don't want that kind of stuff to happen here. Because, I mean, you're loading up your room with bad stuff to do bad things, and nobody's paying attention to you, even though we think you should check every room every day. Go in, look around, and report anything that's not right. So I think here we're trying to be proactive, so those kind of things, mass shootings and mass, you know, we try to make sure they don't happen here because we're not paying attention. Yeah.
Can you elaborate on number 6?
Number 6, bicycle lanes. Mike?
Right, same for the car sharing program. We're gonna have a bicycle lane and bike share program in township where you don't have to own a bike to ride in the township. We're gonna connect all 10 towns together.
It's actually a path. It'll be a designated path, and you can hop on your bike anytime during the path and ride the whole width around town, wherever you want. Yeah. Sorry. It'll be on not the major roadways, some major roadways.
Yeah, designated roadways.
There'll be a path though, like a marked.
Marked path. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of towns have it. It's pretty cool. Good.
Okay. Moving on with Councilman Patel's agenda.
Oh, I have Eric, just so we know, I have Eric sent the letter on Magnolia.
Yes.
To the 2 owners.
Okay. That's all.
Yes.
As a student at JFK, I'm particularly interested in item number 3. What is it?
I think he just keeps that on his agenda and reports whatever we're doing for JFK. I don't think we have anything active right now.
No projects going on there, but other schools keep having them and something will come up. The most recent thing we did there was we're putting in the barricades.
Oh, that's right.
People were using their vehicles to drive between the middle school property and the high school property. It's an unimproved road if you're familiar with it. And unfortunately, you know, that's not what it's meant.
Between the high,
Yes.
between the football field, yeah.
Yes.
It's like a segue, yeah.
So that's what it is, ongoing projects.
It wasn't really safe in Island Middle. It was, people were coming around, coming from the JFK parking lot, going behind the bleachers toward the middle school, and then turning into the parking lot where kids were always playing basketball, always playing soccer, kicking the ball around, whatever. And it was reported to him by a couple of residents that it wasn't safe. So that is what that is. He put that on his agenda, and I think we just finished the gates, right? You see the gates now?
Yeah.
So cars can't get behind there. There's enough room for the little golf carts to do, and then the gate can be opened if you have deliveries. But we had to stop people from driving back there because it just wasn't safe on the Island Middle School side.
One of the big problems with that is because, especially with the baseball field, it's the high school varsity field. So when you give the address out, they put in their GPS and it takes you to the middle school, to the high school, but it's easier to park on the middle school side. So people were using that as an access road. So we need to stop that.
Okay. And Howard's agenda is our last councilman's agenda, and Marvin just left, but before she has to leave us, our chief of staff who does the redevelopment, and I would have had Marta do this, but I think number 10, if you could just touch on that for if any.
Oh, yeah, this is really good news. Do we want to announce it now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mark, okay. So, anybody here live in Hope Lawn, Forbes? Okay. So you know where the path mark was. We have been.
It's a mess, right?
Yeah. And everybody in town.
Just to clarify, it's the path marked by Burger King, right?
Yes.
Yes. And everybody has been asking, oh, you got to get another food store. You got to get another food store. And that's really hard to get food stores to come in. They're not really expanding. And the developer there turned a lot of people away. He turned away a self-storage. And most people who own properties, they'll take the first check that somebody will give them, but he really worked with the town. And he got a food store. Right now, I'm not remembering the name of the store.
Fresh.
Fresh or something. Anyway, but it's a really good store, and we're very, very excited about it. They also had some issues with Burger King because they had shared easements, and that has been all settled. So Burger King's going to stay. We're going to get a supermarket. So, and there's going to be a big improvement.
And that warehouse in the back is going to be knocked down for some high-end apartments. And on the corner between Pathmark and that building is a really ratty business. That's going to go too. The guy who bought the building just bought that. And it's going to improve because now traffic can go down Pennsylvania Avenue without going through the neighborhood. So,
yeah, some people instead of going through traffic, they'll come through this way.
yeah. It's a big improvement to Hope Lawn. Very big improvement.
We're very excited about it.
Okay, anything else on this agenda? Any questions?
Howie?
Mr. Minch?
Just a couple items, just so at least the students know. So my agenda lists a variety of things that my office works on. Just picking off a few. Number one, letters A, B, and C. So any of the businesses in town that have a liquor license, in order to be able to sell, serve, or disperse of alcohol, they have to have a license. It's a state license, but it gets administered through my office. In this particular case, A, B, and C are relative to changes in the ownership or changes in where it's going to be located. And that paperwork, again, all comes into my office. I work close with the police director's office, and prior to the town council authorizing any change, they get a recommendation ultimately through the police. So I list them as changes are coming on. You'll see, in fact, I'll just drop to number 1, letter B. We have a new grill house and sports bar that's going to become the town called Arugas. We just opened one up recently in East Brunswick. We don't have a location yet for them, but they want to own this piece of paper that'll give them the right to serve and dispense alcohol in the town. Then I'll just drop down to number 6 just quickly. One of my responsibilities is the Chief Administrator Officer of Elections here in the town. So if you're running for office, town council, mayor, I oversee the election process. We have 77 voting precincts. We have just over 60,000 registered voters of our 100,000, almost 100,000 residents. Likely that number will change. We'll be kicking off our census count starting in 2019. We'll be promoting it for the count in 2020. So that's all I have.
So once we do all the council agendas, then we literally just go around the table and every person reports to me and to us what they're working on, and we answer questions. We all know what's happening. So we start with Carol.
Okay, I wear a couple of hats. As the redevelopment agency, we are actually working on 49 redevelopment projects throughout the township, plus, which I mentioned before, the abandoned property program. We do everything. We're working on creating transit villages. The warehouse market now, since they raised the Bayonne Bridge, is very, very hot, and some of our properties that were totally challenged and have stayed barren and ugly for decades and decades suddenly have developers bidding against each other for these properties. So it's a very, very exciting time for development in Woodbridge. Another hat that I wear is Chief of Staff, and as Chief of Staff, I often call it Chief of Stuff because I do all of the things that the mayor, his pet projects that he doesn't want to do. For instance, he hates to have to read big documents, so I read them and summarize them for him. Probably the most important part of my job is keeping him out of trouble, and for those of you who know him, that's not always easy. But as Chief of Staff, one of the most fun things, and when you talk about something you're passionate about, is our sustainability program. There is a program in New Jersey called Sustainable Jersey, and almost every town in the state belongs to that program. And I call it Sustainability for Dummies because they give you a list of actions that a township can take to become more sustainable, and then they have all of these resources so that you can learn more about it. Each one of these actions gets you from 10 to 20 points, depending on what it is. Woodbridge Township is the champion. There is no town in the state that has done as much for sustainability as we have, and we're very, very proud. That's under the mayor's leadership. And everywhere we go, people talk about the great things that Woodbridge is doing. We are working toward, they just started, we're silver level, they just started a gold level in energy, and we are working toward getting hopefully to be the first town that gets gold. So it's all great stuff. And anybody that wants to be on the green team, just, who should they let know? Let Brian know, and he'll put you on it. Any questions? I have to go upstairs now. One of our biggest projects, we are rebuilding the senior building that's right here downtown, because like Buns Lane, that's an old cinder block, awful place to have to live. So we are building new housing for them over next to the Sycamore Center in Port Reading. And this is a project that involves us, the Housing Authority, and the federal government, HUD,
And the developer.
and the developer. For how many months, Senator, have we been having these hourly conference calls with 8 attorneys that go into every single detail? Finally, we're going to close on this project with HUD, and I have to go upstairs for this closing and sign 42 documents. So it's a lot of work, and I might have my arm in a sling by the time the day is done. So thank you. Anybody have any questions before I have to go?
Carol says HUD, that's the Housing and Urban Development, that's the federal government. So federal, state, town, developer, financiers, you name it. It's a very, very complicated project.
The most. Okay, thank you, everybody.
John.
Okay, I'm the communications director, and at the current time, you have a copy of the Woodbridge News. That's our quarterly newsletter that goes out. It's a 40-page newsletter, the biggest one in the state for any municipality. And right now, I'm in the throes of putting together the next summer edition. And so I remind all of my staff here to make sure that they get me any submissions, any news, anything they want to get into the Woodbridge News. And it will be hopefully published and out to the public by mid-June. So I'm reminding staff that anything you got, I need it, and we're going to get it written very shortly. I also do all of the PR, the public relations, press releases, and everything else for the mayor when we have events that we have to announce. So that's my update for the moment.
Thank you very much.
Dennis? All right, Michael.
Hi, everyone. Let's turn around. So I've had the best boss for 30 years. The mayor has literally been my boss for that long. But we have a unique shared service with the school and the police and the municipal government. So our computer center is right on the second floor, and that houses all of the networking that you have actually, if you're in the Woodbridge schools, all of your internet, your Chromebooks and your iPads, it's all facilitated out of here through our interlocal, and so we work closely with Dr. Zega and Mr. Bader. So we started out with 125 computers in all the media centers. Now we're almost at 18,000 when you look at all the computers and devices. So it's a very unique collaboration, and we also it's the internet of everything, really, that is connected. So it's your Apple TVs, it's all your Chromecast, and as we said, with laptops and workstations. So you're going to see a lot of those, and I know Mr. Salento likes to be first, that we transform these media centers into these learning centers. So lighting up the district is a part of the mayor's cooperative with referendums that we had with Woodbridge Middle School and School 11 that we're rebuilding, that we're putting double access points in all the classrooms, so more robust internet, more laptops, more computers that we're saving in maintenance for all the things that we're doing with the fields. So we're really committed to the education and technology within the
Ding!
schools. And that's
Yes.
So if you have any questions?
Yes, she has a question. Don't encourage him, by the way.
Go probably, but Woody High School, our Wi-Fi was turned off about a month and a half ago. We have no Wi-Fi, and the service is really bad, so we can't access even like our grades or our classroom to get school information? Do you have any idea?
So during park testing, we turn off the guest network as per Mr. Pace. And we're going to be putting those back on and doing some upgrades throughout the summer. So it's...
It will be back by next year.
Yeah, no, definitely. It should be back after, since we're done with park testing. But I'll check that. I appreciate that. Right.
Yeah,
but
yeah, wasn't the park testing done?
But they blocked
They got you, Mike.
They blocked some of the guest networking. But I'll follow up with Mr. Pace and yes, thanks.
If you have any problems with technology, call me directly.
Oh, you're probably playing Fortnite on your phone.
That's just not what we do. We use it to check our grades or go on Google Classroom.
Understood. I'll follow up with Mr. Pace.
Okay.
You gonna turn around?
Thank you.
All right, Dennis.
Okay, Public Works with the contracted masons and operating engineer, we completed the wall and the patio extension up at Highland Grove for recreation yesterday. Olson Tower parking lot is done.
Oh, really? Striped?
And striped by the police maintenance guys today. So that's ready to open when you guys are ready.
Let's schedule something with the business people down there. John?
Gotcha.
All right.
Paving crew, we had to send them over to Goodrich and Island. We had some major failures from the winter on Goodrich out there. I sent the paperwork up. We're paying our cost share for snow removal to our condos.
What's the grand total?
$25,985.77. No, it's a little bit embarrassing. Our crews are now working on the curbing and the wall up at the community center at the new sign.
Oh, okay.
And that's it.
Well, Dennis, as you know, the mayor had given us the direction to look at all the playgrounds and in order to make sure that the safety of the access from the roads weren't, and we had that meeting, and I'm just curious as to, I guess the ball went to you to get some estimates as to what we could do to implement those recommendations of that committee for the safety.
Yeah, we've came up with some barriers and some small things that we could do to improve, which we can do with money that we have.
Good.
For the bigger ones, we may have to fund in our next budget.
Okay.
But also, all the playgrounds have been inspected and repaired and are ready for the summer.
Even ours?
All of ours, all our playgrounds have been inspected.
Good.
We have a state qualified inspector on hand who inspected them all. Parks Department did all the repairs, so they're all ready to go. And we're trying to tighten the security around them. We're going to take care of the smaller ones first, and if we have to do some funding later on for the other ones, we'll do it.
We just got a little nervous because some of our playgrounds, if they're close to the street, like I just look at School 21, it's to the right of the school, but it's Inman Avenue, a busy street, and it's got a fence, but a fence isn't going to stop a pickup truck. So I always worried about that, and we finally then said, let's take it to the next level, look at every single playground we have, and see what we need to do to make them safer. And in that case, we're going to put bollards the same color as the playground, which I think is red. Just put red bollards to match it all around the front, so if a car turns to avoid a collision on Inman Avenue, it doesn't go up the hill and crash into the playground with kids there. If there's bollards there, we'll stop it. So we did that kind of study for each one of our playgrounds to make sure they were safe, and now we'll spend the rest of the summer putting the improvements in.
Yeah, and the inspection.
Okay, sorry.
Speaking about safety at parks, I don't know if you're familiar with a park named Warren Park over in Hope
Yes.
Lawn. Yeah, that basketball court is on a hill, so every time the ball bounces out, it'll run down a hill and into the parking lot. And I was asking if there are any measures being taken to prevent anybody from being hurt if they run into the parking lot. And God forbid.
That's actually a Middlesex County park, but we can relay your issue to them. There's 4 parks in the town that are county parks: Merrill Park, Warren Park, Williams Park, and Fords Park. They're all run by the county. But we keep in touch with them, so when we see issues, we'll let them know and they'll take care of it. So you got that one, Dennis?
Yep.
Michael?
I have a long agenda, but I'll try to keep it short.
You always have a long agenda.
It always costs a lot of money.
This one will too.
Oh, great.
Subsequent to a meeting we had with a potential developer in Penn Valve, the question of Cutter's Dock Bridge was raised, who it belongs to. We thought in the past it was an orphan bridge. In actuality, it's not.
Who owns it?
Great question mark. The township owns it.
Oh, we do?
Conrail denied ownership of it because it was built in 1934 by Pennsylvania Railroad. But when they were out of business, Conrail took all assets from Pennsylvania Railroad.
So why don't they own the bridge?
Because it's not a through traffic. They don't have any document that they own this bridge. They send me everything that they have. But if it was a through traffic, DOT told me they would have repaired, but there's no way to go.
Well, the likelihood is whoever develops that site will have to pay to repair it.
Right. I was thinking if we can send a letter to New Jersey Transit because it's a transit rail line.
All right.
See what they do. Otherwise, we'll probably have to.
Just write it up and send it over.
Okay.
If it's our bridge, if we removed it, the the railroad couldn't go through, right?
We can't. It's an overpass.
It's an overpass.
It's within a few blocks from here.
No, but it's the one that goes. What goes on the top of it?
Nothing.
Oh.
It goes over the North Jersey coastline.
Okay.
Either way, we still have to repair this bridge because it's not in good shape.
No, I know it's not in good shape.
All right.
The second item, we received a couple of announcements from NJDOT for alternative transportation, just like streetscape. I was speaking with Marta, and we thought Main Street might be a good idea to have a streetscape program under the funding.
Streetscape.
No,
Well,
yeah, the streetscape.
Have DOT fund streetscape improvements, and Carol, Mike, and I had a previous conversation, the new requests for grant applications came out, but we also thought with what's going on Main Street and the surrounding area, maybe a later application is better.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Also, C1 Waterfront qualifies as well.
That's the one we should hit first.
that's the one you want now,
Right.
Yeah.
No property acquisition. It's,
just streetscape.
yeah.
Well, if we ever were to get some of those properties under our control, would that pay for fixing up and making boat slips, marina slips?
Yes, but they won't fund property acquisition.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine, we'll get the property and then they can pay for upgrading.
I did get a phone call from DEP. They said, how sure are we with the C1 Waterfront? That's for you, Senator. They want to know if we are serious about.
We're serious.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is a project that's over at Seawarren. The town owns a marina over there with about 27 slips, and that's owned by the town. And next to it is another marina that is not in very good shape. It's not usable right now. So the thought process is maybe to do some redevelopment and have a nice marina be able to be put over there, perhaps with a, which the thought process would be to try to make it one of the most environmentally sensitive marinas anywhere. Instead of having bulkheads, you could have living banks, for instance, and have everything on the floating docks. You could do and if there was a restaurant, if there would be a restaurant developed there, you could have a place where you could actually show the habitat inside the restaurant. You could have a separate area showing the environmental concerns and the environment of the animals and the plant life that lives in there. So the thought process is to make this kind of a total package and enhance the attractiveness of the area, and also make it utilized so that for people to be able to utilize the creek that goes all along Cliff Road there. So that's a concept to it, to try to put it together. But baby steps you have to do. It's the area of the old Boynton Beach, which before, and I'm very old, but even before I was born, there was an actual beach there that people from up in New York would come down to Woodbridge, and they would have a big hotel. There was a big hotel right there, and it was an actual beach where very wealthy people came to spend the day. The beach isn't really there much anymore, but so it's kind of like trying to bring back a piece of history by bringing back the name. And so ultimately we thought maybe a name would be like Boynton Beach project.
Let's skip the rest of yours, because we're going to go on,
Right.
we have to, we'll catch up, we'll talk, but not in this form.
Mayor, real quick, the guest network will be turned on tomorrow. Mr. Pace just sent me an email, so just to let you know.
Nice job.
Are you serious?
Nice
And
job.
listen, if it's not up, you text me and let me know.
That's how government works.
Oh my gosh.
He is in the run for senior class president.
I'm just glad you got him. You got him.
Thank you.
Michael's right.
Right, Monica, this is on the library.
Brock for president, senior class president. She gets things
I
done.
have a sister also.
All right, Monica.
Library business is taken care of by a library board of trustees. The mayor appoints 8 board of trustee members, and the school has a representative, and they're separate from the council meetings, so you'll see most business for the library is done, and that's, they set, we have a bylaws that sets their day of the month, they meet the time, and most of the boards should all have bylaws that do that for you. So at that meeting once a month, that's where the library business takes care of. So my job's a little different here than everybody else's in that I work for people who are appointed by the mayor to run the libraries. The fun news for us is that we just started circulating Wi-Fi hotspots. They'll be out from the main library. You can get them there. They circulate for 3 weeks for free and with your library card. And the other news I have is that the summer reading programs for all ages. Come on now, it's lots of fun. The theme this year is Libraries Rock, and it'll be starting in the end of June.
Okay, with myself and the police department, a lot of what I'll discuss here with the mayor is some of the things that are going on in town. Of course, our main goal is crime suppression, but we still remain a very community service-oriented police department. So what we try to do is address issues that the mayor's office will get, or council people, with parking situations, speeding. So a lot of that is what I'll discuss here at this staff meeting. One of the things was Bamford Avenue, excuse me, Blanford Avenue. You were getting
Oh, right,
complaints.
Blanford, yep.
We've been taking action. We've towed some commercial vehicles out of the area. What's happening is there's a trailer park in the area. They're only allowed 2 spaces in the trailer park. So any other vehicles are parking on side streets, which the residents then come home, have no place to park. The mayor gets the call. We try to go clean it up a little bit. So we're in the process of doing that.
All right, good.
I'd like to start by thanking Deputy Recreation Director Brian Molnar for putting the program together, along with his supporting staff, Eileen Caggiano and Alyssa Reyes. So thank you very much, guys. I'd also like to thank Councilwoman Nancy Drum for stepping in for Councilwoman DeJesus, so we appreciate that. This week, as the summer approaches, we're going to be opening up the pool. We have a couple of projects that the DPW is helping us out with. They should finish up by Thursday. We've also reached out to the health department to do the final inspection, so we can open up the pool this Friday. So it'll be opened up every weekend. That Highland Grove pool will be opened up every weekend until June 22nd when we open up for the season. Little different twist this year on the parking from the police department's recommendation at the fireworks. So really won't affect too many people. Just the fact that all the paved surfaces, we're going to make that handicap parking. So those folks that use walkers and wheelchairs will be a little bit easier to access the park. And we'll do some changes within with some of the other parking along the fenced area. That's it. That's all I have.
I thought of it this morning. We took the money from the expo on Saturday. It's in your safe.
I have it.
I totally forgot it yesterday.
Yes.
We got to get it down and put it in the bank.
You got it. So it goes to the charity fund, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Done.
Loretta will give you the account number.
Okay.
One thing we're working on right now is our budget. All individual department heads are now going through their budgets. The division heads are going through their budgets. developing them. We're going to sit down and with our BA, myself, next week to kind of go over each individual departments and see where we stand. I'll then consolidate it, and then we'll sit down with the mayor and have him review the budget as well. So that's kind of the key thing we do now during the May-June process. That's it.
So similar to our library director who reports to the Board of Trustees, I too report to a different board. I report to the Town Council. So as the role of the Town Clerk, I serve as the liaison between the Town Council and the administration and the Town Council and the public. So much of what you see on their agendas, it's a document that I create. Most of the requests, I know the mayor has said over and over again, council requests various items. Those items generally go through me to the administration to be dispersed, to be followed up on. And speaking of the council, so there's been a change since we've been sitting here. The council president is Debbie Meehan from the 5th Ward, who is now here, and actually that's who I report to. So the person I report to changes every year, each time the town council president is elected. So I don't know if she wants to say
Debbie, you
anything
want
about
to
it.
I agree with
All right.
I think I'm going to do the council meeting with you after this, but welcome. It's great to see all of your ideas, and it's so good that you get involved in this because there's so much you could do as a youth to bring out better things in our township. We want you to stay here, go to college, come back, raise your families here. So what you say and all your ideas really matter. So glad you're here. Welcome.
As the health director, I oversee a lot of different divisions, everything from animal control, the animal shelter, to health inspectors, nursing division, clinical services, drug addiction, senior centers, senior services, youth center, so a lot of different things. But usually at these meetings, we talk about things that are going on, complaints, things like that. So last week we had a rabies clinic, and where we vaccinate dogs and cats for rabies, and we had almost 200 animals last week, which was actually a pretty good number. Also springtime, so we get a lot of complaints with stagnant pools, mosquito breeding, those types of things, so we're really working on that. And over the last few years, we've done a lot to be proactive about taking down stagnant pools and areas that really do breed mosquitoes. So we really want to prevent things like West Nile virus and things like that, so we're going to try to eliminate those mosquito breeding areas. We also have some reports of a coyote in one section of town, so we're really working on that. We're being really active, and animal control's going out there, being proactive, monitoring. There's not too much we can do because wildlife is obviously protected by through the state laws, so it's more of a monitoring thing and making sure those situations don't get worse. And I think that's it for me for now. That's it.
Just before Marty, if you don't mind, Vito and I'd like to see everybody at the table afterwards in the meeting, in my conference room. All right?
Okay,
Thanks.
So I like to describe planning and development as if you see anything going on, activities and or construction on any property in town, we're really the department that everybody interacts with, because we do planning, which is long-range planning like master planning and zoning ordinances and redevelopment plans and zoning and property maintenance and building, and so anything on property, whether it's an activity or construction, is rooted at some point. They come and they interact with us, and I'm a very long-sitting director. 20 years this year. I'm completing as director, and I would say that's because Woodbridge has been blessed with a lot of really good leadership in the mayor and council, all of the elected officials that you guys are sitting as, and the administrators also, but none more challenging and more interesting and better to work for in terms of just the pace that everything happens at than this mayor. So that's how, and council, so that's how I could come to the same name position every day, and I won't speak for anybody else at the table, but I'd say we're all challenged by just the breadth of work that we're able to do here on an ongoing basis. So, in relationship to that, the Dunkin' Donuts at the Garden State Parkway opened just at the end of last week. I think I had mentioned that to you. That's 82. The other side is a little bit more challenging. So
the northbound side opened?
No.
The southbound side opened. Okay.
Southbound side.
The northbound side is where we get a lot of complaints.
Yes, because that's where all the residents
Yeah.
back up and access the property. Also, on Thursday night, the zoning board approved Spring Hill Suites and the Forge. That's going to be a 4-story, 100-room hotel at what was the Forge, and that banquet facility is going to remain open. Also, we're just starting on it because with all the rain, it's been a earlier, heavier season, but this is just the beginning. We already sent out 30 lawns for maintenance. And so, and then I just have a bunch of documents and ordinances that I'm going to be sending through for your review in the next week or so. Lots.
Thank you. I'm working right now with Manny, primarily working on the budget. This becomes the biggest focus of the year because a budget is a blueprint of what the governing body is going to have given to them for the entire year. So we're fortunate in this town that our mayor not only did the budgets here for so many years, he also did the state budget when he was the state treasurer. So while I'm coming from a background of smaller towns and I think this budget is huge, he coming from the state think this is nothing compared to what the state billions that he had to deal with. So it's a pretty remarkable I've only been here 5 months, so I'm really learning, but I've found that this is a great group to work with, and they are constantly making me try to look good, which is something a little hard for me. And then we have worked all the dynamics out, but working on a budget, I'm known to be a little bit conservative on spending money. And so the directors have learned that this is a little different budget round than what they've had in the past. So I have a little machine that just says no 100 different ways. No, no. So that's how that works. But that's primarily what we're doing now. And with that, I appreciate seeing all of you here today. Youth in government is something that I've worked on a long time, for so many years in so many different places. In my other life, I was a municipal attorney for 40 years plus. So, and yesterday at this time I was in Disney World, so it's kind of like a big shock to be going from Disney World to here. But I appreciate you all spending my wedding anniversary with me, so that'll be...
I just want to close by saying that every place I go, I open up with welcome to Woodbridge, the best town around, and I truly believe that we are the best town around, and it's because every single individual at this table is without a doubt among the best at their job in the state of New Jersey, and that is not an exaggeration. That is the truth. Woodbridge is a model for the entire state. We are very aggressive. We do things other towns can't even dream of. We're larger than most, so we have the ability that other towns don't because we're so big. But everybody at this table is a leader in the entire state of New Jersey. Our police department's accredited every 3 years, one of only a handful in the entire state. Our public works department, every town is jealous of us because of our snow removal, our garbage collection, our parks. John Mitch is a former clerk of the year in the state of New Jersey. Everybody here is the best, and that's why we're the best town around. And the really good thing about it is we actually all work well together. We all get along. We are all friends. The council is friendly with us. I have a milestone birthday this Sunday. I'll be 40. I have a birthday party at Monmouth Park to celebrate the milestone, and everybody here is going. The whole town council is going. We socialize together. We go out after meetings. We have an escape room group, the elected officials escape room team, which is me and the council. The non-elected officials are everybody else. We've been to 3 rooms. We've gotten out of 2. They've been to the same 3 rooms. They haven't gotten out of any. I'm just saying that the elected officials probably are a little bit smarter than the non-elected officials. I don't know how you would put it. But the fact that there's no mayor and council and administrators and department heads in the state of New Jersey that socialize together like we do. I mean, we actually all like each other. And you can see it when we're out there, and I think really, we got elected last time with a record percentage in the history of Woodbridge, and it's because people are happy in Woodbridge because of the people in this room. Your parents are happy, your grandparents are happy, the schools are better than they've ever been, public works, police, health, planning, recreation, better than ever. So this is a great team. You're seeing a very, a truly great team at running local government right here. Any other questions before you go into your council meeting? All right, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, pay attention. Call this meeting to order. Now I'd like to present the proclamations to the kids who are here all day at the Youth and Government Day. Let's start out with the mayor, Guillermo Pena from JFK High School. I'm just giving it to you. I'm just giving it to you. Yeah. That'll be easier. Preeti John from Woodbridge, representing Municipal Clerk John Mitch. Brian Barrows from Colonia, representing Council President Debbie Meehan. Emily Darrow from Mother Seton, representing Vice President Corey Spiller. Moshe Kachia from JFK, representing Councilman at Large Brian Small. He sits over there. Eric McKenzie, Woodbridge High, representing Councilman at Large Greg Ficara. Cassandra Medina, Colonia, representing Councilwoman at Large Lizbeth De Jesus. Maria Del Rosario for Mother Seton, representing Councilman Howie Bauer. Jenna Delatorre from JFK, representing Councilman Kyle Anderson. Kyrie Close from Woodbridge, representing Councilman Viru Patel. Maria Brock from Colonia, representing Councilwoman Nancy Drum. And she got her Wi-Fi fixed while she was here. Isabella Felix, Mother Seton, representing Chief of Staff Carolyn Ehrlich. And Emily Anand from Colonia, representing Business Administrator John Bennett. So seriously, I really hope you guys had a good time. Hope you learned something. Hope you realize that there's some pretty good people running government. We got very talented people, our council, our administration, all very dedicated to this town, and I think we do the right thing. We work hard, and you saw it all today. And if you ever have any issues or questions, you can ask any of us. If you ever need reference letters when you start applying to colleges, or if you ever want to get involved, you all had some good ideas on your handouts there that I read. Just let us know. We'd be happy to help you out.